right, welcome back, everyone, to Lakers latest. I hope you guys have had a good weekend. Hope you've had a good Sunday watching football. It's been a wild day. There's been like 4 block punts. I honestly can't remember the last time anything like that's happened in a very long time, or if it even happened in one day in general. But just a crazy day of NFL football. So just wild day. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I don't know what the weather was like here in LA. I think it was rainy. I know, like I said, I was on the East Coast. I've had a couple very long travel days, some layovers, just a very long days. LAX, ridiculous with traffic on the way back, just horrendous. Took like an hour 40 to get home, what usually is an hour. Horrible traffic on the highway. But that's just LA, isn't it? But anyway, I am coming back to you from Studio City as I normally am now. I'm back home, and we're going to hop on a bunch of things today. Preseason a couple weeks from the 3rd, so we're about a week and a half to 2 weeks away from that. Media Day, I believe, is the 29th, so we are now about 8 days away from that. And yeah, we're getting closer and closer, and obviously can't wait. For the season to get going. And yeah, let's hop to the first thing we got on the docket today. So, going to be talking about Rob Pelinka, Lakers president of basketball operations. Now, Rob was interviewed, kind of talked about the offseason as a whole, a bunch of different things. Talked about Luka, talked about where he sees the team now, where he sees the team in the future. And the first thing I want to talk about is kind of what we knew, but Pelinka kind of just confirmed it that like right now they're in win now mode. He talked about we got these 2 star players. We know we can build around them. We know we can compete around them. And right now we're just in win now mode. Now, obviously, he didn't mention LeBron's age. He's not going to come out here and be like, yeah, man, this is LeBron's last season. Like, we're in win now mode. We got to be. So we got to make sure we either want him to stay or, he potentially could leave. Obviously, he's not going to say that. That's, by all intents and purposes, what he was saying, no, by win now mode. Now, obviously, it's not just this year, because the reality of the situation is you're going to want to be in win now mode. This is the Los Angeles Lakers. You want to be, in win now mode every single year if you can be, especially with a guy like Luka Doncic, who right now is the top 5 player in the NBA, potentially top 3, depending on who you ask. And, you're going to be competing with him the entirety of his time here. But obviously, with LeBron James being in what's going to most likely be his final year in Los Angeles, you want to do everything in your power to basically compete, and whether that be trade for someone, whether that be get the best out of the guys that you currently have on the team. That's why they're in win now mode, and that's kind of something we already knew, but it's nice to hear him say it, so we know that, even if we don't get that big game-changing player, whether that be a Wiggins or someone else right now, that he's going to keep looking to get those upgrades throughout the season. So that's important. Talked about Luka, obviously how unbelievable he was in Eurobasket. I think, I've talked about that ad nauseum, but he was just outrageous, averaged like 34.5, 11 rebounds, like 7.5 assists. He was just unbelievable. He was probably the best player there. I don't care about Dennis Schroeder. I'm like, yes, good for him. But at the end of the day, like, Luka was the best player there. Well, depending on what you think about Jokic. Obviously, Jokic, I think, is better right now, but Jokic didn't play the amount of games that Luka did because Serbia lost early. But, yeah, we know how unbelievable Luka is. I think he showed there how great he can be. He showed he's in unbelievable shape. He's ready to go. And Pelinka was just kind of talking about how important he is, and we know that. Like, he's the team's franchise player, but it's good to hear him kind of have that utmost confidence that not only is the franchise player, but they think he can be the best player in the world. Now, he's not better than Jokic. I'm still not taking him over Jokic. I don't know about Giannis. I'd probably still take Giannis over him too, but at the end of the day, to hear that confidence out of your president is exactly what you want to hear. So, love hearing that from Pelinka. And the last thing kind of talked about, excuse me. My allergies are like so bad now that I'm home. But the last thing he talked about was basically that, he really wanted to make sure that they have flexibility. He called it, I believe the term he uses, optionality. I don't even know if that's like an adequate term for the situation. But you can understand what he's saying. Like, they want to have options. They don't want to just pigeonhole themselves into, this is our roster, this is what we do now. They want to make sure that they have flexibility for the upcoming years, and they want to make sure they have flexibility for this season. So it's good to get a little insight into Rob's head and kind of just know that, he's not content just, making like a conference final. And obviously they made the conference finals last year. It was a very disappointing year, but to know that he is trying to do everything he can to compete for a championship is good to hear. All right, next up. So like I said, we are about a week and a half, 2 weeks away from preseason. And yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited. Like, it's been a while since we've seen Lakers basketball. Obviously, we've seen Luka, in Eurobasket. It's been awesome to see, but we haven't seen him in that purple and gold in a while. So, really, really, just looking forward to that. I think one thing that I'm gonna pay very close to, and I've talked about players to watch out for in the preseason, and I'll touch on those just a tiny bit again. But I'm really interested to see JJ Redick in year 2. I think JJ, for the most part, did do a good job last year. Obviously, disappointing end to the season to lose to the Timberwolves. I mean, that's a really good Timberwolves team. It's not like they were, they weren't evenly matched. They were pretty evenly matched. They got Anthony Edwards and everything. So obviously, disappointing end to the first season. But I do think there were a lot of positives. Obviously, Austin Reaves continued his progression. LeBron still LeBron. You get Luka, and I also think that it's hard to fully judge JJ's first full season because of that Luka trade. Now, obviously, yes, you're getting that superstar in Luka Doncic, but because of the volatility of it and how crazy it was, and it shocked the NBA, and then the Connect trade got pulled back. Just so much happened in 2 weeks. It was kind of just crazy, and I feel like it did kind of change the trajectory. So now we're gonna get a full season of Luka. You're not gonna deal, with all the outside noise. I mean, there's still gonna be outside noise, but not, the craziness that was that trade and the leaks the weeks that happened after it. So now it's going to be up to JJ to get the most out of his team. It's going to be up to JJ to get LeBron and Luka in sync. It's going to be up to JJ to get the most out of Ayton defensively, who we'll talk about in a minute. But it's going to be up to JJ to get the most out of these guys. And I think we did see a good amount of that last year. But now the stakes are raised in year 2. This could be LeBron's final year. Luka's first full year. You got Marcus Smart. You got Jake LaRavia as a good piece off the bench. You got DeAndre Ayton. You got more pieces. The stakes are higher now. A first round loss is not acceptable. At this point, I don't even know if I would say a conference finals loss is acceptable, even though there are 3 teams ahead of them. It's going to be up to JJ to make the most of those pieces, and I'm excited to see kind of how it starts in preseason. So we'll see what happens. Now, like I said, I'm going to touch on Ayton. No one's ever questioned DeAndre Ayton's talent. He's first overall pick. He was the first overall pick for a reason. You don't get taken with the first overall pick if you're not talented. Unless your name's like Anthony Bennett or something. Sorry. Couldn't help myself. But basically, DeAndre Ayton is a very talented player. He's a talented post player. He can shoot. He can pass the ball. He's not an amazing passer, but he is a little bit of an underrated passer. He can pass the ball. The biggest thing with him is going to be defense and rebounding, to me. Offensively, I know he's a talented player. I do think he'll fit in pretty solidly with this team. I think they're going to need that low post presence. I think they're going to do a bunch of different things to incorporate him in the game and kind of maybe move him around. But the thing you worry about with him is defense. You've seen the effort. You've seen the bad attitude before. You've seen some stuff where it kind of just rolls over to game after game. And that's the biggest concern with DeAndre Ayton. Because at the end of the day, the Lakers need Ayton to give everything he has, defensively too. I'm not asking you to make first or second team all defense. Just I'm not asking you to have 2 blocks a game and be this stud help defender. You got to just be average though, and that's not just one-on-one defense. Obviously, that a lot of one-on-one defense is technique. Aiden's technique isn't horrendous, but his biggest issues are effort and hustle, and that's what I want to see him running down the court if he hits a shot. If he misses, run back down the court. I don't want to see situations where his man is beating him consistently back up the court, whether that's if you're playing a team like the Pacers, who's just super fast paced and they push. Those are the things you have to watch out with Ayton, and those are the things that killed him in previous stops. So I think that in preseason specifically, obviously it's not going to be real basketball yet, not regular season, but it's still going to be his first impression, and first impressions are important. You don't want to come in and you don't want to not hustle. You don't want to give any bad body language. With body language, I hate bad body language in the NBA. It rubs off on teammates, and it's just the bad vibes all around. You want to see him hustle. If he misses a shot, okay, that's all right. No worries. There's more of the game to go on. Ayton to me is such an important piece to this team because he's a very talented player, and he's a guy that I do think you can get a lot out of. But if he's consistently giving poor effort defensively, or he's not getting his looks and he starts moping around and he starts giving bad body language, it's going to affect the rest of the team. So he's one of the biggest, I think, pieces I'm looking forward to in preseason, just to see initially how, what the effort level is, what the hustle's like, how he fits in. Because I think if he fits in, he's going to be just an enormous piece to this team, especially for the entire year. So I'm gonna finish it off talking about a Lakers legend. Well, I don't know if Lakers legend. He's hit some huge shots. He's obviously not like a Hall of Famer or anything, but Robert Horry obviously won a ton of rings with the Lakers. um, he was kind of just talking about the Lakers roster as it's currently constructed, and he kind of got into talking about Austin Reaves. Now we've talked about the possibility of trading Reaves or keeping him or potentially extending him next season. All these are possibilities, but Robert Horry kind of went into gave a few reasons why he thinks they should trade Austin Reaves, and I don't 100% agree with this. His main reasoning was the fact that like Luka and Austin Reaves are, he said, redundant players. They're like almost the same player. Now, what to be fair, they're obviously not the same player. He did say, I'm not talking about from a talent level perspective because obviously Luka clears him easily. He's more talking about from like, and they need a ball in their hands, distributor type guy. Which, yeah, I mean, you could say they have some similarities, but there's not many. You know what I mean? Luka can do an insane amount of things that Austin Reaves can't do. I don't know if there's a single thing Austin Reaves can't do that Luka can't do. At the end of the day, like I understand what he's saying from like the ball in both of their hands. Like if you're like because if LeBron's gone, Reaves becomes your second best player, and it's like, can you really win with Luka and Reaves being your second best player, a guy that needs a ball in his hands, or does it need to be like a forward or a center or a power forward, someone who like I'm not saying Anthony Davis because obviously he's not coming back, but kind of that type of player, you know what I mean? Or just like basically the question is like, can you win with Reaves? And I understand what he's saying. I just don't agree with it. I really like Austin Reaves. I think he's a really good player. I think if you are going to trade him, you have to trade him for the right piece, whether that be like a Lauri Markkanen, whether that be a Troy Murphy, Trey. I keep forgetting whether it's Trey or Troy. Hopefully, my bad. But I don't know. We got to see with Austin Reaves. I don't think he's going anywhere this year. I think that will be determined in the offseason. So we'll see what happens. But that's it for me today, guys. I hope, like I said, I hope everyone had a good weekend. And yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow.